Recording has started.
Thank you. All right, good morning, everybody. 10:01 ESInet Users Group meeting. Just as a reminder, make sure you sign in online. You can either go to the website or Daryl has put a link in the chat for everybody to sign in. And we'll move right to the project update with Tracy. Dillo, do you want to go ahead and start with the issue tracker?
Sure. So we've got, I think, let me open up a bigger one on my side. We have 4 items that are still open. That top one, if you want to scroll over a little bit, that one, we were kind of waiting for you guys to continue to update us. You were reporting the issues, and we're going to reach out to the NOC. I checked with my NOC. They haven't seen or heard anything new. So I guess I need to throw it out, you know, especially to the Montrose Grand Junction area to see if this is still happening.
Okay, do we have anybody on from that area?
This is Matt from Montrose. We've had a few calls that are in question, but we've also had some changes at our PSAP that have made it difficult to track those.
Okay.
So nothing definitive at the moment.
Okay. I think probably leave it on there, and as you guys do get some more examples, definitely either reach out to me or call the NOC, and okay. let's just make sure that we take care of it if they do start up again.
Yeah, we have been working with staff to get better reporting so that we can do DRs for those. But one of the things that we've run into with the DRs is sometimes these calls show up with a 911 prefix, and under that scenario, you can't do additional DRs for that same coded TN.
Okay. Okay. So get it down.
And it looks like Jennifer just joined, if we want to repeat that question for Grand.
Yeah. Hey, Jennifer, I was asking, one of the open items on our tracker is some of the abandoned calls that were coming into Montrose Grand Junction area. And the last conversation, you guys were going to report those to the Lumen NOC if they continue to happen. And when I asked yesterday, they hadn't heard of anything new. So I didn't know if you guys were still having the problem, or has it slowed down a little bit? Do we need to keep this on the tracker? It sounds like, Matt, we probably should keep it on, but have you noticed anything, Jennifer?
Well, I missed Matt's update, so sorry I was late. I have not reported anything to the Lumen NOC yet because in my research, I wasn't entirely convinced that there was a problem at the Lumen end, and so that's why I haven't reported. I think what I'll do is get with Matt after this meeting and chat with him about what he's got, and then see what we've got from there.
Okay, that would be great. And then, like I said, you can either send information to me or you can go directly to our NOC, whatever's easier.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. The second one there, I did talk to Vicki. This is the Pitkin County Vale. It involves Motorola as well. Due to scheduling conflicts, it's been rescheduled yet again for the 17th of April. So as of now, we do have all the correct parties available on the 17th, and hopefully we can get this routing changed. Cheyenne Mountain, El Paso. This is one that we're still waiting on that circuit to be installed. I don't know. I know that we've sort of switched our sales folks out. So Jeff, I don't know if you're on, if you have any updates on this one. Last I heard from West was that it had not been completed.
Excuse me, I haven't heard as of yet. I'll have to look through to see on the string emails that was coming through. Okay. I think they did make some progress, but I'll confirm for sure.
Perfect. The last time I checked with him, it was April 4th and it wasn't done. So unless they did something last week, then I think we're still trying to push them along. And the last one on there is more of just a placeholder that we're kind of keeping track of. It'll fall into the sales and the PSAPs area as far as just the cross state line transfers. And
okay, Daryl, you raised your hand.
I had a conversation recently with I can't remember who it was now, a couple of people internally at Lumen about the Cheyenne Mountain lines. And my understanding is that they are not operating a PSAP there right now, that their calls are actually going to Peterson Space Force Base. So I'm wondering if that transfer even really needs to be done at this point. I don't know if you've had any communication with the base as to whether they want this transfer completed or if they no longer need it.
Okay. Jeff and I can definitely work with Andrew and reach out and find out if they still want to do that.
Sounds good. Just letting you know what I heard. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for sharing.
Okay.
So I don't have anything else open unless there's something that the PSAPs have noticed since the last meeting that I need to add to the tracker.
Anybody have anything? Doesn't sound like it, Tracy.
Okay.
So this isn't on the tracker, but I did have a note here also to ask about Shriver. My understanding is that one was still outstanding as well. Is that still the case?
I thought, and again, Jeff coming up to speed, I thought with Shriver, it was more of a who's paying the bill situation on that one.
I think that was Buckley.
Okay, let me pull up my
That was
file.
the billing. That was the billing issue.
Shriver. Let me look real quick. Shriver Air Force Base. I don't have that one showing as still open, but let me double check with Cindy and Vicky and find out where we're at on that one. And I will add it as a 5th item on here just so we make sure. I'll send out an update prior to the next meeting, but I want to make sure we get it on here.
Okay, thank you. And it might have been a miscommunication about Buckley. Maybe somebody said Shriver instead, but I remember that from a previous meeting that somebody said that Shriver hadn't been migrated yet or was still in process. So
Okay.
can you just confirm? I can not worry about it anymore.
Absolutely. I will update this whole group on those 2 items today. And like I said, if they're not done, we'll get it added to the tracker.
Sounds good.
This is Jeff. I just reached out to our order processing to find out the status on Cheyenne. So as soon as we hear back, we'll let you know.
Thanks, Jeff.
Okay. Moving on, looks like we can go to letter C, the quarterly QoS statistics.
Fantastic. This would be for the month of March. We kind of switched over and did this monthly rather than quarterly. And again, good news for everyone. There's nothing too exciting on this to talk about. The first chart there is our test completion codes, and they all fell right into where we'd like them to. Again, this is where each probe is called every 7 minutes just to make sure we get accurate readings. And we got what we expected on this one. So again, nothing super exciting, which is, like I said, good news. If we look at the next one by PSAP, here is where, again, if we see any of those lines dip, 1 is bad, 5 is excellent. We have everything for the test for the month was above a 4, which is what we're looking for. If we look at ECMC route, this is with our Longmont versus Miami, same deal here. We don't want to see anything. A 1, 2, or a 3. 5 is in the excellent range. The trigger on our side is below 3.5. We'll start investigating it and people will look into it, but we didn't have any examples of that for the month of March. Packet loss is the next chart that we can look at. Again, this is the tariff. It's less than or equal to 0.5%. So we didn't have issues that we needed to look into on this one. Then we look down at the end jitter. This again, keep in mind that we measure in microseconds instead of milliseconds, just because if we did it the other way, it wouldn't show up on the chart. And again, this is what we expect to see and well in line with what the tariff requires.
That was the last one.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, I was making a quick little note to remind me to get with Jeff.
And then for Daryl, I'll just ask you for that one right below C, the examples of calls that do not meet the requirements. Do we have anything for that?
So I did research that because I committed to do that at the last meeting. I found a video. I think I sent it out to the group. Does anybody remember?
You did.
Good.
Yeah, you did.
I don't know if I did or I just meant to. But yeah, I sent it out to the group. It's basically a YouTube video that kind of gives some examples and explains the difference between different MOS scores specifically. It didn't get into jitter or packet loss or those types of things, but unfortunately, it seems like those types of examples are hard to find, even on the accumulation of all human knowledge that is the World Wide Web. But if anybody else finds any examples that can be shared with the group, send them to me and I'll share them out to everybody.
All right, thanks, Daryl. Anybody have anything they need to, any questions or anything to bring forward for any of what we just discussed before we move on? Hearing nothing, move on to old business. I do believe Tim is on, Tim Kunkelman. Would you like to speak to the tariff amendment filing?
Sure, you bet. The only thing I was going to say is I've seen a lot of non-disclosures filed, and I greatly appreciate that. There may be a handful out there that participated that haven't filed one, so if you still need to file one, I would appreciate you doing that. But again, I greatly appreciate everyone that has already filed that. And right now, the date is set for 4/21 to be effective, but obviously folks still have the ability to intervene in that. So we're just waiting to see what happens in the next 10 days or so.
Okay, thanks, Tim. Daryl, go ahead.
I don't think I'm saying anything out of order to say that commission staff at this point does not have any intention to file a protest letter. So unless somebody else files a protest letter, it will become effective on the 21st.
All right, thank you for that. And we can move on. Daryl, you're next. The Lumen NOC update on responsiveness. Do you have anything?
If I can get off mute. No, I have not received any further reports of issues with the NOC since our last meeting.
All right, thank you. Next is the settlement agreement requirement regarding CenturyLink and West contract, and that's Tim as well. Do you have an update on that, Tim Kunkelman?
I provided that.
I know, I just didn't know if there was anything else.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. I haven't heard from anyone on any questions or comments.
Okay. Okay.
So if there's anything to pass along, I'm happy to take those, but I haven't seen anything or heard anything.
Okay. Thank you.
Should I take this off of old business for the next meeting?
Yeah, I think we can take it off. Yep.
I think it was just a matter of providing you guys with the required copy.
Yeah.
Unless anybody had any questions.
Doesn't sound like it. And Tracy, 911 net training, how's that going?
Yes, so it's completed as far as the initial 8 sessions that Intrado sent out. Those were offered to the PSAPs that reached out and said they wanted the training. So moving forward, if there are other folks, just you can email me directly and I'll get you in touch with Intrado. They're more than willing to do these every so often, but she did run them most of March and for the first week of April, and that covered everyone that initially requested the training.
All right, thank you. Daryl, we can probably take that off, you think, for the next meeting? Oh, go ahead, Joe.
I was just wondering, the trainings, are they available in a video library that people can see at any time that they might get need training, or somebody might be moved into a position where they would need training?
They're not, because it really does require Intrado to walk through the appropriate steps that the PSAPs need. And some PSAPs do things a little bit differently. So she kind of tailored it to the folks on the phone. But we certainly can set anyone up that wants to do the training. I can reach out to Intrado and see if they have plans to do anything video wise, but there is a document that shows how to use it that we could share.
Can I ask, before I mark this to take it off the next meeting, is there anybody on the line who requested the training who did not receive it? Thank you.
And Daryl, can I send like just the document that talks about 911 net training to you and maybe post it internally for folks if they want to review it?
Yes, I'm happy to do that. Would it be okay to post that in the users group folder, or would you rather I just keep it on the email list so that it's not online?
Kim Haig, do you have any reason why it couldn't be posted for the user group? Let me check with
you. You can also think about it.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, it's
sorry, get after you. No, that's fine.
Okay, great. Yeah, if you send it to me, I'll put it in the folder and I'll also send the link out to everybody.
Okay.
All right. Anything else for that? Okay. Next, we have the calls presenting to the PSAP on Rapid SOS, but not on the CPE. Daryl, I'm sorry, I don't remember who originally brought this forward.
Yeah, because I didn't put a name here, but I think it was Jennifer.
Okay.
Who's coming up, who's just turned her camera on.
She did. Yep. That's a clear indication.
That was me. In the research that I did, and I think maybe Rapid SOS users knew this already, but I just wanted to make sure that this group is aware that there are some 911 calls that will show up on the Rapid SOS portal, but not be presented to the CPE. So far, I don't know that we have an answer as to why that is, although my Lumen friends might be able to jump in if they want to. But I wanted to make sure that those of us who are involved in PSAP operations are aware of this and might want to develop their own policy and procedure about how to handle those. So far, the consensus that I've seen is to handle them as an abandoned 911 call and call them back. And there are use cases that Rapid SOS has where they have been emergencies. So just wanted to make sure people were aware.
So Jennifer, you're just stating or saying that the call actually never presents on the CPE. It's only in Rapid SOS?
Correct. You'll see it show up in Rapid SOS. It never rings to the PSAP. I think the most likely explanation is that they might hang up or abandon the call before it has a chance to hit the ESInet. Which obviously you can't do a whole lot about it if it doesn't hit the ESInet. But because it could be considered as a 911 call, if your employees see it, then you might want to develop a policy for how to handle that.
All right. Thanks, Jennifer.
Mm-hmm.
This is Daryl. I also understand that Rapid SOS will present calls that occur outside your jurisdiction by a certain boundary. But I remember on the last call you said that that didn't explain all of the calls that were presenting that you were seeing.
Correct. That explains some of them, but not all.
Okay. Any other questions or comments about that? Okay. Next is the parking lot document. Everybody could just take a look at that and let us know if there's anything that we need to discuss. We will continue to keep these topics in the parking lot document. Matt, go ahead.
Do Lumen and Intrado want us to report these last types of calls to the NOC as well?
Are you talking about the
Rapid SOS?
Yeah, we are seeing some of those in Montrose as well.
Oh, that's a good question. Tracy, or?
I mean, we can't do an LEDR on them in 911 net because there was no call received for the DR.
And Matt, I probably would have to check and confirm with my NOC. I don't know that there's anything that we can investigate on those.
Okay.
But I'll double check.
I guess we can make sure to track them. Montrose folks, if you're listening, track them as closely as possible in our spreadsheet so that we can present a case if we need to.
All right, thanks, Matt. Jennifer, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that if you guys are going to track them, Rapid SOS only keeps their data for 12 hours. So it's not something you can go back and request a report. Jeez, sorry. It's not something you can request a report on. So it is something you have to track on a daily basis as they're coming in.
All right, thanks, Jennifer. Good to know.
Sorry about my phone blowing up while I'm unmuted.
All right. Okay, looks like new business. And I don't have anything unless somebody has something to bring up as new business. Jeff.
I had a conversation last month with Jennifer Kirkland, and I thought it would be a good opportunity to bring this up. They're looking at the possibility of splitting their SIP sessions. And we had a conversation between Lumen with Jennifer and her team and Intrado, and there's an option that's available of what's referred to as volume-based routing. And Kim might be able to address this and speak to it a little bit more, but it's the ability to, instead of having just a single point of where your overflow is going to be going, you can actually put in a request and put in a network request form will be submitted to be able to allow those calls to be split to different locations. Kim, do you have anything additional to add to that? If it's something that any of the PSAPs are interested in doing, please reach out to me, and then we can go ahead and get a call set up and be able to investigate if that's going to work for you or not, and see what we can do to help you facilitate it.
Hey, Jeff, this is Daryl. Is there a written description of this service anywhere that we can refer to, or could one be provided to us so that people know what they're requesting?
Let me see what I can get put together for you. I'll send that over. And
this was before you joined the Colorado group, obviously, but a little over a year ago, we had a sort of symposium on Next Gen 911, and at that time we were told that that wasn't possible on the ESInet. So if that's possible now, I think there probably would be some people interested, particularly some of the larger agencies that wouldn't want to dump all of their calls on one other PSAP.
Right, and that's exactly why this conversation came up. So,
thank you.
Yeah, very good. That's exciting.
Yep.
I think we can do that. Any other new business from anybody? Okay, moving on. Next is open discussion. Do we have questions, concerns from any of the PSAPs to Lumen? Okay, any open issues from Lumen to the PSAPs that need to be talked about?
I think we're good.
Okay. Next is public comment. Non-voting members are welcome to provide comments during this portion of the meeting. Anybody, non-voting member, have any comments? Daryl.
I just wanted to mention that under the new 911 reliability rules that the commission approved and went into effect on March 30th, there's a new investigation process for outages. This is something that the outage committee will be directly involved in, but I think the ESInet users group needs to be aware of it as well. So I'll start providing updates on outages that I know have occurred since the last meeting. We did have one, and I should have been prepared with the dates. We had one on the 4th in the city of Thornton. That is now the subject of a staff investigation. Still trying to gather more information to make sure it even is a basic emergency service outage, but based on the information I have so far, it was enough to start an investigation. And I just received information today that there was a 3 PSAP outage affecting Clear Creek County and both of the PSAPs in Gilpin County yesterday. So I'm following up on that as well.
Okay, thanks, Daryl. Jennifer, go ahead.
I was just curious if anybody else got a whole bunch of notifications on Saturday, the 8th, from our telecoms about voice over IP outages and possible wireless service issues.
Is that the one that at the very end they said it was not? Yeah, never mind. Yes, yes, I received numerous.
Yeah, Peking got that too.
Okay. Just curious.
Okay, and I'll ask anything else for the good of the order. Oh, thanks, Shannon. Parker got it too. All right, with and Denver. Okay. With nothing else, it looks like we are at 10:27, and you guys get 33 minutes of your day back, and we're going to adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good week.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.